What's up, everybody? Welcome to this episode of Beers and Breakdowns. In this episode, we are reviewing one of the best shows ever made in the history of shows on Earth.
I think that's an official title, too.
Yeah.
It's an accolade.
Somebody somewhere on the internet said this is the best show ever created that they've ever seen ever in their life.
Yeah.
100% that happened, for sure. Was not me that said it.
I actually think we've been put up for Grammys for this.
Yeah.
It's going to be incredible.
Yeah. I mean, everything that you could think is going to happen is going to happen.
Isn't a Grammy a music award?
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I don't know. Oscars, Tonys, all of it.
It's a country music Grammy. That we
I think we were going to get a CMA for this.
We were put up for the CMAs for this. All right, but let's jump into this episode. We're going to be reviewing our show. You guys got to see episode 1. Hopefully you've all watched it. If you haven't watched it yet, please go watch it or watch the review and then go watch it of Special Forces, The Next Generation.
It's called the Special Forces Readiness Exam. It's pretty unique, I think, within all of special operations. You can come right off the street as a civilian or active duty or guard, different branches. You can be a Marine or in the Air Force. You can come in here and try out for the unit. This is literally just a tiny selection. The cadre were just like the cadre that I had in selection. The feel, the vibe of it all, this thing is like a perfect mini replica of selection. Candidates come from all over the country, and for a lot of them, this is probably the first.
Dude, this was the funnest experience.
It was so much fun.
I loved going back and being like in a cadre style position. And you could just feel the nervous energy of everyone there. And I started to get nervous for them because I'm like, I know what they're about to go through. We have an idea what they're going to go through, and it's horrible. It's like the most intense experience you'll ever experience in your life. And everything that you think you're going to get out of it, it gives you plus some.
Yeah.
And that plus some is what makes Special Forces Special Forces. Is if you just like, oh, I think it's going to be hard. I went there, it was hard. That's not good enough. It's got to be, I think it was going to be really hard. I got there and it was way harder than I could have imagined, but I did it. And that's what starts building the mindset of Special Forces. They need you to understand that past what you think you could do, and then some more, and then some more. And then you start to get the mindset of, I don't even know what I'm capable of, but I guarantee you it's a lot.
Yeah. And that goes into the whole mindset of the thing. And one thing about any of these selection events is it's kind of masked as this physical challenge, right? Everybody thinks about, it's this super grueling physical challenge. That's only a part of it. The physicality of it only is there to take you to your absolute limit, because what they're really selecting for is the people that then can have the mindset to then push past that perceived limit and continue to go on. And with these guys, I kind of got sucked up into the world that they're in. Like, it's hard to see myself being on the other side. I still see myself as one of them. And so for these guys, they had no idea what was coming. We kind of had an idea, but it's been so long since we've done it that once we got further into the process and we actually see what they're doing, it kind of took me by surprise again.
How intense it is.
And the other part, which I did, I'm sure you guys have done too when you're watching this, I'm sure Sean did it, is you're looking around and you're looking at these guys and you're trying to pick out who's going to make it, who's not going to make it. And the crazy thing is if you got to see the numbers at the end of this, you'd probably be like a 30% rate. Yep. Maybe, because you can never tell. You look at these guys, and some of the most unassuming guys are the toughest mentally, and those are going to be the ones that make it to the end.
Yep. You walk in, and everybody's looking at this dude right here being so big and so jacked, and that's hard on him too, because now he has that expectation of you're going to do well. Well, he doesn't know. He's got to find out what he's got, going on for him, and now he feels even more pressure to do well because he looks the part. Yeah. And so it's almost sometimes better to be the unassuming guy that everyone, kind of casts off as not going to do well, because then you can come up from behind and really, give it your best shot, and then you keep pushing and nobody sees it. And then all of a sudden at the end, they look and you're still standing there and they're like, oh, dang, you're tough. And they're like, yeah, dude, like, it's not all physical. This is a lot mental.
Now, one of the worst things you can do if you ever go to one of these events is compare yourself to others.
You can't do it.
Because when you get there, if you're standing next to this guy with the tank top on, you can be like, damn, I'm weak. Yeah. I'm not going to make it. This guy's a shoo-in.
No,
it's not always
no
the case. Actually, it's rarely the case. I remember when I went to SFAS There was a guy that was like him. He was jacked. He was an 82nd Airborne dude. The most jacked guy in all of selection. I was like, clearly he's going to make it. He looks like freaking Sergeant Slaughter or something. Didn't make it.
Yeah.
And a lot of times those are the guys that don't. So
Hey, all that muscle takes a lot of oxygen, takes a lot of energy. It is hard to carry around. That's a lot of weight on your body. And something you kind of learn in paramedic school that people don't know, but if you take, let's say you take a 300-pound dude and you take a 150-pound guy, his organs are all the same. His heart is the same size as his. So the added muscle, the added fat, your circulatory system and all that still has to work just as hard to carry this small guy as it does this 300-pound guy, because it's not feeding all the fat, it's feeding your organs and your body. So essentially you're the same, and your body has to work twice as hard to carry a lot more meat and a lot more fat.
it's like putting a tiny little engine in a big truck.
Exactly. So the engine's the same, for all these guys. They all have similar size hearts and similar size organs and similar, so really a lot of muscle could be a disadvantage.
Yep.
Up, they have no idea what's about to happen. We don't give them a lot of information. We start them off with a fitness test right out of the gate.
You can see the fear in the candidate's eyes.
I'm sure they've got all sorts of ideas about what's about to happen, but I promise they know that it's not going to be fun.
It's about business. It's about the standard. It's just my job to just show up and just get it done.
You're about to take the Army physical fitness test.
I'm not from Army or anything. Yeah, before we said go, I was nervous. I'm not gonna lie.
I was going for a miracle. I'm an older guy, but once you hit, the event, that all just goes away and just focus on pounding out the reps you need to.
Right away, the PT test is one of the worst parts for me mentally, because the standard is the standard. I can't push through it. I can't do anything about it. So you look at these guys, and from the outside you think, oh, a PT test. You do push-ups, you do sit-ups. It's the standard. But when you're there, it's a completely different environment. The cadre, these guys that you look up to, they're wearing green berets. You want to wear one. They're wearing long tabs, say Special Forces. You want everything to be in their shoes. And they're looking at you like you need to perform. And this is how you're going to start showing us. And your entire reputation from now to the time that you become a Green Beret and beyond starts at the PT test. If you perform well and you get in that right mindset and you start having the right mentality, it's going to follow you all the way through your career. Everything starts at that PT test. It's not just, oh, you do a PT test and move on to the next day. This is the very beginning of your entire Special Forces career.
Yeah, I think one thing that actually is a little bit more nerve-wracking for the SFRE specifically is not only are these guys Green Berets, but they're actually in the unit that you're going to be going to. So it's not like when we went to SFAS, like they could be from first group, third group, 10th group,
That's
whatever.
A good point, yeah.
These guys, they're going to be rubbing shoulders with these guys for the remainder of their career, essentially, if they make it through.
So these cadre are going to be extra selective because they're picking their replacements.
Exactly.
And that's a terrifying thing. So that PT test, in its structure, in its rigidity, becomes the scariest thing. Because if, let's say you're in like a down pilot event, you could be lifting up your buddy, you could be carrying extra weight, you could be having a good mentality, you could be pushing really hard. All these things to kind of make up for areas that are lacking, right? You may be hurting really bad here, so you lift up here and you balance yourself out. There's none of that allowed in a PT test. It is the standard, and that is it.
It's just you and that cadre that's kneeling, looking at you from like a foot away. And the most nerve-wracking thing for me for the PT test is the waiting. And because you're turned around, you're looking away, it's all happening behind you. And each time somebody else goes, you move one step closer. And so it's just that anticipation is building. The closer and closer you get, and you're listening to other people. And as it's going, you can just hear people breathing heavily, and you can hear people as they stop, and you can hear people struggling. And it's just inside, you're like, I hope I have what it takes. Like, even though you've done it numerous times, because you're not going to come into this, or you shouldn't come in not trained up. So you've done it, you know that you can do it, but there's still that doubt. You're like, what if today's the day that I don't?
Yeah, because you have bad days where all of a sudden you just can't perform. You mess up, your stomach cramps, whatever, and you're just so terrified that any of that's going to happen. Sometimes you go into a PT test and guess what? You got the flu.
Yeah.
Well, too bad, because today's the day, put up or shut up. And you're going to do that with the flu. I've done many PT tests with the flu. I've done many PT tests after vomiting because I've just been sick that morning or whatever. There is no excuses. You're going to show up and you're going to pass.
No.
All right, so we got 3 candidates that we selected. And how do we select them? Well, you saw what we saw. We walked up to a giant group of people and we said, wow, this guy's older. It would be really interesting to follow him. Hey, do you want to be on our show? He said, sure. And then we said, wow, this dude is super jacked. Do you want to be on our show so we can follow you? Because I'm interested to see how you do with all that muscle. And he said, sure. And then we said, and then the cyclist was a former professional cyclist. More of what I would put my money on as far as fitness level or as far as mindset with being former professional athlete, as far as build, being thinner, more fit.
Yep.
He seemed very humble when you talk to him and stuff like that. So I was like, okay, he'd be a good candidate as well. So then we got our 3 candidates that, seem very different from each other and ended up being very different, having very different personalities, and were the funnest to watch.
I think we somehow, out of dumb luck, got the 3 best.
Yeah.
Especially when you see this guy that's super jacked. We'll call him Jersey Shore, I guess.
Yeah.
This guy was an absolute gold mine when it came to just the content,
dude.
The things that would come out of his mouth, his actions, everything that this guy did. It's like, we need to see more of that.
Dude,
it was hilarious.
The dude's hilarious. He's comedy gold.
His accent, his demeanor, everything is perfect. It's absolutely perfect.
And then the older guy, we called him Ragnar. He was what everybody wants to see, so we got lucky again. He's the good old boy, underdog story. He's too old to be here. He's not the young buck that everybody else is. He's already had careers. He's already, later in his life. He's, what everyone would look at and be like, you're past your prime.
Yep.
Yeah, so he definitely had to get a waiver just to go. And so, you're like, man, I want this guy to do well.
Yeah, but and it's cool to see their motivations, right? He had something to prove. This is something that he wanted to do for a long time. You got to see where the cyclist
wants to do it again because he'd already been a professional before. Now he wants to be a professional in another environment. And then you got T1000 that I think he's so used to looking the part that he wants to be the part.
Yeah.
It's not enough to say like I'm jacked, I'm fit, like I got a butt chin and a square jaw. Like, yeah, that's cool, and you may get all the ladies, but at the end of the day, you want the respect of your peers, and the respect of your peers are going to say, well, what have you done? What have you done in your life? And so he wants to say, I'm also Special Forces. And like every man wants to say that, but especially butt chin, because the dude looks Special Forces, but he's not.
Look, if he makes it, they're going to put him on all of the posters, all the recruiting ads and everything.
You're going to see him like, what does he say? He's like, it's time to do the job. Like when you got to do the job, you do the job. So everyone has their different reasons for being here, and it's so fun to watch them go through this process.
Yeah, and the cool thing to see was also the different struggles that each one had. Because as the series progresses, you'll get to see where through Team Week or the different individual events or whatever it was, each one had different peaks and different valleys, and it was hard to pinpoint. There's some of them that were strong in areas that you thought they might be weaker in, and some of them that were weak in areas you thought for sure they'd be stronger in. And so it just goes to show that you can't ever count anybody out, and you also never really know what the outcome is going to be at the end of the day.
Get ready. Get set. Begin.
It sucks. That adrenaline rush has already spiked.
We want to see that grit and determination more than anything.
Push-ups to me is always a strength. I'm like a fanatic about getting like a perfect score.
For these candidates, it was the first time they're actually being tested. This is their first official gate. Once they started the PT test, you could actually see pretty quickly some of them somehow were caught off guard.
All the cadre are usually mystified when we see somebody that's obviously unprepared. Whatever led you here, you must have been lying to yourself about the reality of it.
Once the blood's flowing, you're breathing hard. Now it's just who has it or who has the heart to have it.
Definitely the hand release push-ups were threw me for a loop. You just got to focus on the goal, accomplish the task that you've been given to the best of your ability.
Boots width apart.
I thought for sure he was going to snag his beard doing the push-ups. I was just waiting for him to be like,
But you see, like, Sarge was right, man. Like, the adrenaline spike is insane. And so these guys, a lot of them aren't used to that adrenaline spike. They go, oh, I could do push-ups. Look, I do hand release push-ups, no big deal. You don't know what it's like to be essentially afraid for your life, which is the level of intensity of a PT test in special operations, and then do push-ups. And then you just give so much of your effort trying to do them perfectly. That's another thing people don't understand, is you're so worried about getting no counted that you're overdoing every rep. You could see Ragnar goes out, comes back, and does another little hip skip because he's so in his mind focused on trying to do the perfect rep because he doesn't want to be no repped. So it's so intense. You think, oh, you're just doing push-ups. No, everything matters. There's times when you go up, and if the cadre don't think you're going up enough, that's a no rep. So you could fail because you got a really tough cadre and you didn't practice the right way. So everything is on the line with these push-ups.
A no rep is basically when your rep doesn't count. So you'll be going and it'll be like 1, 1, 1, and each one, like in your mind, you're like, I'm on 4 right now, but you got no rep because either you didn't go down low enough, you didn't go up all the way, you didn't do something properly. So yeah, the no rep, that's like that stuff really gets in your head because now you're wasting energy at that point too.
Yep. And what you guys don't see here, and what we probably could do better in the future of explaining, is guys are failing left and right here.
Yeah.
We kind of just like can't really explain that in the show, but we'll find a way to try and do it in the future. But guys, many guys failed the PT test. Many. There was a whole group, literally, of guys that failed and had to get separated and put into remedial that essentially didn't get to take part in the actual event because they didn't get past the PT test.
This is a gate. If you don't pass this gate, you're
You're out. So even though when you see guys getting up and walking away, most of them is because they failed.
I knew there was going to be a 2 mile. I just, from research and stuff online,
Their minds are going crazy with what they've seen on the internet or what they think is correct, and there's so much information out there that they have no idea what to really believe.
Raise your hand if you do not see your grader. The practice of running ahead of, alongside of, or behind the tested soldier while serving as a pacer is permitted. Get ready. Get set. Begin.
I remember doing PT tests myself, and it's always that little bit of nervous energy. But then it's like everything calms down, and you know what you have to do, so you just perform.
Your legs are a little jelly. You know you've got to put out. You know that you're being watched.
Of course, you've got some stragglers. We've always got folks that show up unprepared regardless of the information put out. You always have folks that don't take the advice. Our job is to continue leading them through this exercise. Those folks end up self-selecting out of the course, and the rest continue to advance.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, in my opinion, the run is the worst part of the PT test because it's one of those where you're standing there and you know it's going to hurt. You know it's going to suck.
It's max effort.
It is. It's max effort for 13 to 14 minutes, however fast you're running it.
So no matter what, it's horrible because if it's not horrible, you're not giving it max effort. You're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
It's got to be the worst run of your life every single time.
You're right. Yeah, you're right.
Every single time, it has to be the worst run of your life. It has to be.
And what always sucks too is, again, like you'll go into it with a game plan, and it happens every time I do any kind of race, whether it's a 2 mile or like a marathon or something. You're always in your mind, as soon as it starts, there's always people that are faster than you. Mm-hmm. So you get caught up in the hype of getting out of your game plan and like, oh, maybe I do need to run faster. So you try to catch up with them. And then before you know it, you're getting gassed, or like the cadre was saying, like you start out, your legs are jelly because a lot of people don't take into account the effect of doing sit-ups right before you do a run. Like it's a lot, and then when you're doing those sit-ups, you're burning out your hip flexors and stuff.
Or now planks, which planks is gonna stress out the same thing. Your core is gonna get all stressed out, and then the adrenaline dump up and down from each event. You're having this adrenaline spike and adrenaline dump, and by the time you get to the run, you're just blasted, and your nerves are shot. Your muscles are shot because you're giving max effort for everything.
The environmental factors. It was super humid this day.
Yeah, so it's tough in every single way. And then you see those guys running together at the end. They failed. I mean, that's like they were way behind. So the whole like, oh, we're gonna join each other. That's not the right answer. No. You don't join each other in failure. You want to like motivate people and run faster and get them to chase you, but the PT test is an individual event. We're not looking for kumbaya. This is not team week.
This isn't when the team events start. Right. Like this right here is purely an individual event.
This is a pure individual event. You're here to pass gates and prove that you're in the physical standard to start the selection process. This is not a time for you to grab your buddy's arm and say, we're going to fail together, man. Like, no. I got you, bro. Like, no.
No man left behind. Well, in the PT test, yes.
In the PT test, every man for himself, because every man had to do his preparation before getting there. So don't join up with somebody and try to play clap hands on the way to a failing score. Just show up prepared.
I think that you can see it in some of their eyes today. Some of the guys are pretty pleased with their performance.
I'm very, very happy about how things are going. I work my ass off for this. I'm not from the Army, man. Like,
I'm doing good on most of my events. There was one that threw me off a little bit, but other than that, I'm actually I'm having the time of my life, to be honest with you.
This one's kind of interesting because of the mindset. Ragnar's like, I'm doing good on most of my events, having the time of my life. That's not the right answer. You're doing good on all your events, or you're doing good on none of your events. You need to pass all your events. This is a PT set test. You were given the standard. You need to meet the standard. So I'm loving Ragnar's attitude. I'm loving his mindset, because if you're having fun now, that's a good sign. It's a good sign that you're doing something that's in line with your mentality and in line with your character, and that's a very good sign. The thing that's like where he's like, I'm doing good mostly. Like, no, this is gates. You do good on all of them because you knew the standard before going in. You practiced, you made sure you were ready, and you went there ready and did your best. Yeah. I would never imagine us standing around in the Q course during gates going, we did mostly good.
Yeah.
Like, no.
Well, I'm still going to get recycled.
Yeah.
Because I didn't pass the gates.
Have fun, mostly good. We'll see you in the next class, mostly good. Like, no, you hit your standard. Every week, Kurt and I would get together, go to his house or come to my house and be like, but it would start with a text. Friday night, you still in? Yep. Still here, baby. And like, all right, my house or your house? My house, cool. And then all our families would get together and we have drinks and barbecue. But every week was a check-in. Yeah. You still in the course? Yep. Because there is no mostly good. It's you're meeting the standard or you're out. And there is no room for anything else other than that. No, there's no mercy. The cadre can be like, well, we really liked you. We're sad to see you go. Like, nah, dude. Oh, you didn't meet the standard? Okay, bye.
I really like how you did well on most of the events.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, what's interesting to me, and what I found kind of the most interesting about this whole part, right? You've got the PT test, push-ups, plank, and then the run, right? And then after that, you have the pull-ups and you have the rope climb. And so you got to see that some people were pretty prepared for most of it, but then when it came to the pull-ups and the rope climb, they suffered. Some of them really suffered on the rope climb, which is, I understand some people don't have access to a rope or something like that. And you got to see a lot of people trying to pick up cues on the fly, like waiting in line, trying to see how's this guy climbing the rope and trying to emulate their style. The rope climb for me was something that, was a challenge for me going into it, because I didn't have experience. I think a lot of people don't. And so it's interesting to see that, some people show up and they have this mentality where like, well, if I just smoke my run and my push-ups and this, then I could fail the rope climb and that'll be good enough. Mm-hmm. But like you're saying, it's all one event. So you need to be able to do everything. You need to find somewhere that there's a rope, watch some videos on YouTube, do whatever you need to do to be able to get some experience so that you can actually climb the rope, do your pull-ups. The pull-ups was another one that we saw a lot of issues with.
Dude, I don't care if I had to buy a rope on Amazon and hang it over a fence pole or a pull-up bar at a park. I'm finding somewhere to hang that rope, and I'm going to try, and I'm going to practice, because you don't need to go high. What you need to work on is your your foot wrap, and you need to be able to hold yourself on that rope comfortably. You should be able to put that rope, lock it into your elbow, and go no hands, and just sit there on that rope for a minute or two.
Yeah, if you have good technique, you're not going to get smoked doing a rope climb. It's like going up steps almost. Most of it should be with your legs if you have good technique. But what we got to see here, people that didn't were just trying to muscle it up with their arms. Yeah. That's when you come into issues with people coming off of ropes, people getting to the top and burning in, and that's going to mess up your hands. We've seen a guy break his leg in the Q course doing that. Yeah. And so it's all about technique. And
multiple
if you don't
guys break their legs. We had 2 guys in our Q course break their leg on the rope climb.
Saw one guy do it right in front of us. He just and you hear that snap, and he goes like this, and this part of his leg just went. Like, oh.
And then you got to get up and after him.
It's like, all right, who's next? It's like, what? I don't want to go.
Like, nah, you mean call it for the day or no? They're like, no, get up there. Like, he'll be fine. You get up there. There's no mercy. There's no mercy. You got to go.
Today's my favorite day. This is the day that they don't get to hide out anymore. People, they wake up in the morning and they start their day, and when they're going to sleep at night, that's like the most honest they're going to be with themselves, right? For the whole day, they put that mask on, how they want people to see them, and today's the day when we get to rip that mask off, and that's what it's designed to do. They can't hide out anymore.
Freaking love that.
Dude. So Adam is the man, and just to give you guys some context about Adam and why he's the fixture of the show. So you're going to see that most of the guys are, well, all the guys besides Adam are blurred faces. That's because Special Operations was, hey, we don't want our cadre having their faces out there because they need to deploy, and they're in current deployment cycles. Makes perfect sense. Well, Adam just retired. He's Sergeant Major, and he was, for a long time, he's also a contractor. So if you know Matt Best and Evan Hafer and all those guys did the contracting overseas with the CIA, Sean Ryan, that's Adam. Adam is that guy. So a lot of times you guys think like, oh, all these SF guys, they get on and just, exploit themselves and talk about how cool they are. No, we don't. Most of us don't. There's a few of us that do, and I'm sorry that we, make it seem like a lot of us do. But most of us are like guys like Adam, and that's why we're true quiet professionals. They would never tell you anything. Adam never talks about what he's done, but the dude is a legit gangster. He's had an amazing special operations career and civilian career. He's done some of the coolest things you'll ever hear. He's got some of the coolest stories you'll ever hear. So he is the perfect guy to essentially be the face of this show, and we're so excited to have him. Like, it was an honor for us that he would agree to do it, and because he's retired, we could use his face and we could say his name and stuff. So just to give you some context of why Adam is there and who Adam is, so you guys realize that when he's talking, that dude is super BA, and he's a legit operator that's done stuff not just for Special Forces, but CIA protection assets in overseas and contracting, and now his job with the military is also super top secret and also super awesome. So like, the dude just doesn't quit, and he is more the face of special operations, in my opinion, than guys like us and Tim Kennedy's and Sean Ryan's and all the guys that get out and talk about it, because we're very few that decided that was a cool thing to do. The majority are guys like this who would never tell you about it. You would never know, and just are super humble, amazing dudes.
Yeah, and he's not just like a random sergeant major. Like, he actually recently retired out of this specific unit. He used to work here, so he is, when it comes to a subject matter expert in what we did, that's him for sure.
Dude's the man.
So yeah, he's an awesome dude.
Yeah, so I'm glad we get a chance to just talk about who he is, so you guys can realize, like, when he talks, like, that's good info. The dude's awesome. Everything you do is an assessment by the cadre. You want to put out max pull-ups.
It's time. Put up or shut up.
You don't know what it's like to do max effort pull-ups and then immediately go into a rope climb without a break, and now your upper body is completely burned out for that rope climb.
while I'm going through the events, I just think like, I ain't gonna go home saying like I didn't do something that I could have done. So I think it's a capability. It's all a mindset. You tell yourself you got it, and we're gonna crush the rest of it.
So they're gonna get some time to head back. They're gonna be able to get some rest, and honestly, they're gonna need it.
I think many of them are probably celebrating. You know what I mean? The first night's over, all the jitters are out. They did a PT test. They're probably high-fiving and giving hugs. But again, they're going to get a reality check in the morning that I'm not sure all of them are prepared for.
Hurry up!
Ooh-wee.
Dude, that next day
is
what separates the men from the boys.
Yeah. If you guys think this is cool, that was just a PT test.
That was nothing.
Episode
2 gets into the actual nitty-gritty of what this is about.
That was literally Gates. That was literally a gentleman's introduction. That was, hey, welcome.
Yeah.
Go ahead and do your PT test, knock that out, and then we'll get started. We haven't even begun. And it was already that stressful. That many people failed it. That many people are out. They have no idea.
Like he was saying at the end, I think a lot of them thought like, oh, this isn't so bad.
Yeah.
This is all right.
Like, we haven't even
Wait till
started.
Tomorrow. What's cool about this, and a lot of you guys will notice, like, you've got people that look like they come from all different walks of life. You got people in Army shirts. You've got people that are wearing Air Force or Navy or Marine clothes. Some of them are civilians. You see guys with cornrows. You see guys with earrings, long hair, right? So anybody can come to this. You don't have to be in the military. You don't have to be in the National Guard already. A lot of these different branches are people that are about to get out of whatever branch they're in, and they're looking at now joining Special Forces through the 20th Group SFRE program, which is a phenomenal experience. And the other thing is, with all these people from all over these different walks of life, I can't really pinpoint one of them that was more successful than the other. I think that there was a somewhat equal selection rate. I feel like, now that I'm talking about it, the Marines did pretty well from what I remember. I don't remember.
The Marines showed up.
The Marines were there to represent.
Yeah, the Marines showed up.
But other than that, everybody else I would say were pretty equal. Marines probably had a little bit higher. But those are also some just really good dudes that were there.
Yeah.
But I think it's just a unique opportunity where I don't think there's anywhere else really in the military where people can come from straight off the street, from a different branch or wherever, and then try out to become a Green Beret or Special Operations and make it into a unit like this.
I will say the Marines showed up physically.
Yes.
The Marines showed up physically, but we are not all physical game. We are the full package. So we're going to see how just being good physically may not always work out for everything. So Marines definitely showed up physically. We'll see how it plays out. And I'm not dogging Marines. I'm just saying they showed up one of the best when it comes to terms of physical fitness. But man, if you want to be a Green Beret, it is a full package deal. You're going to have to use your brain. Yeah. We are probably more focused on what's up here than the physical side than we should be most of the time. I think a lot of Green Berets are physically fit because we want to be, not because necessarily always need to be. Because we really heavily focus on what's in here. Yeah. But man, I can't wait for you guys to see what's next. So stick around. Let us know what you guys think. Drop your comments down in the comment section below. Who's excited for episode 2, but essentially day 1. And if you're interested in signing up and you want to test yourself, I'll tell you what, go hit up 320th and tell them FNG sent you, and I'll tell you, they'll let you go for free.
They'll even pay for your meals.
They'll pay for your meals. You'll get free food, and you'll get a place to stay while you're there. Just tell them FNG Academy sent me. You're getting the full layout. My friend, don't cost you a thing.
But if you're serious, Abel will put the link down below, and you can send in your interest form.
Some of you guys are going to have some fire in your guts, and we're going to give you the pathway to go get after it. We might be there filming you. Hey, see you on the next one.
Like FNG Academy gave me this free pass for Special Forces.
And then I hope that, dude, I hope
it's a golden ticket.
Yeah,
Chief,
Chief is gonna be down there and just be like, "Oh, we'll accept. Yep, come on in. They're right. You have free spot."
Like, oh, this guy's nice.
This guy's awesome.
I like this guy.